Pierson, Town of Pierson Workshop will come to order Monday, June 3rd, 2024 at 4:05. Yvonne, will you please call the roll?
Sure can. Vice Mayor Robert Greenland.
Here.
Councilwoman Linda Richardson.
Here.
Councilwoman Brenda Pierson.
Here.
Town Planner Mark Brett.
Here.
And we're both present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Would you please bow for the invocation? Heavenly Father, I just ask that you give council and staff that are here today guidance and wisdom in considering the business before us today. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first item of business, 4A, DRA. This came up at our meeting last Tuesday, which I guess everybody knows. It was approved, and we're here to iron out the details, so to speak, I guess. So the floor is open. Mark, I don't know if you want to start with this, or Lenny, or you, or Brandy want to go? Mark, I'll give the floor to you.
Let's give it to Mark.
Okay, well, if you turn the page, if you recall last Tuesday, I said there are a lot of things that the DRA does under the Land Development Code, but this section is really just the code enforcement provisions, because I know that's the part that you guys are most concerned about procedurally.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what's currently in your land development code, and it is something that was put in the land development code in 2021, and we've been waiting since that time to have a DRA, because essentially these regulations are not effective without that. And so this describes the process, and so we'll just kind of go through it. At least through the first portion of it. The second part has to do more with development permits, but this is the code enforcement process. So you have in front of you a portion of the code, which is 3.2.10, violations and penalties. So this first part is a complaint phase, which basically just says that when the development regulation administrator does receive a complaint, it will have to be in writing. They'll have to, under state law, have to give their name, and they'll allege a violation of the complaint, and so it is the DRA that then takes action. And there are two types of action they can take. They can simply decide, okay, I'm going to put this on the town council's next agenda and get direction, or they can immediately begin to investigate. So if you guys want to create some policy guidance around that, that might be something for you guys to discuss. But it was written this way thinking there might be some things that you don't want them to wait for. I mean,
Right.
the presumption was that the DRA would most likely wait before they did anything and get direction from the parents. Because that was the conversation that we had at the time. But the language does give the authority to move forward if there's something that definitely shouldn't wait till the next meeting.
Like an environmental issue, somebody dumping raw sewage or
Correct.
something to that nature, yes, I would want her to act immediately. Right?
So that's the first thing that the DRA can
Can do.
do,
Well, I mean,
or
under code,
they, right, either or, they can wait or not, or go ahead and and act,
Right,
Okay.
and start the procedure.
right.
Yvonne, yes.
Question. Okay, so somebody brings something to me, wouldn't you want me to investigate it prior to bringing it to you to the council? Because then I bring it to you and then you tell me to investigate it,
Well,
and then
yes.
you're waiting another 2 weeks.
I would think that,
Because what if I go out there and I take a picture and what the person was complaining about isn't even valid? I shouldn't have to bring it to you if it was like, you know, they say, oh, there's a junk car there, and I go, and there's no junk car. Just an example. Then I wouldn't even have to bring it to you because what the problem was is resolved
gone.
itself.
You would at least have to, under this language, you'd have to at least let them know that you received a complaint.
Well, they already said that in the last meeting that they want me to give them reports on who has filed for investigations or complaints or whatnot. But my
Understood.
question is, would I wait till I brought it to them and then do the investigation, or would I investigate it prior and then bring the information to you, like pictures or whatever the accused is saying is the issue?
I would think that, and this is just my prerogative, I would think that you would investigate first before you bring it to
Well,
the
how I
council's
said the
attention.
wording was it could go either way, so I wanted to
You
know.
can go either way, probably.
Well, go,
Preliminarily, I mean,
Yeah, well, that's what I
maybe not
mean.
get too deep into it.
Not get too much in there, but, you
Right.
know, if they say there's a junk car in front, you go and take a picture and there's no junk car now.
Right.
Then I can bring it to you and say, you know.
Received a
here's pictures,
complaint,
here,
there's
thank you,
nothing there.
done.
right,
But if, I mean, maybe if it's something big, like one that we've been getting calls about, that may be something we do have to defer to council on, because that might be
Yeah, that was.
above us, you know what I mean, like that,
North Road, Brandy.
Yeah,
like that one's a big one.
we had one last week with North Road where they're
We
digging
still
the
have one.
pond. Today there's dump trucks coming out of there like crazy.
on North
Lake
Road.
Pierson. On the teacher's old piece of property, got sold, where he planted all them trees right there across from Sergius.
You know which one we're talking about, right?
Where Lars used to own that single wide trailer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They moved the single wide out, they're digging a pond back there almost at Lake Pierson,
And they're doing it anyway?
and they're doing it.
Yes.
And they already came for a permit. So last week, called St. John's. I called St. John's last
Uh-huh.
week, and St. John sent me to EPA. So I called and gave them the complaint, and they sent you an email back last Thursday or Friday, said that they did put an
Apply
investigator
investigator, and they replied a number to the complaint.
complaint.
But they said it could take anywhere from like 2 days to 2 months to
Yeah.
investigate it, so
Yeah.
by that time the pond will be,
Doug.
the dirt will be dug and,
There's not a whole lot of dirt around that lake.
That's
It
mud.
flew
what-
all over. I
what-
flew in here after I came by there and asked her if they had pulled permits. And
What-
she said, we just got a complaint about it.
That property there was filled in with fill dirt years ago.
Yeah.
The only high part on that lake is on the north end of it where the old Strockman house was.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the only high part on that whole lake.
Well, when you go home,
But-
go that way.
but
and
yes.
look.
What if you gave Yvonne a point of contact with one of the council members, that if she had a question about whether or not she should investigate it prior to, she could make a quick phone call, or this came in, what should I do? I mean, just so you have someone that's a point of contact for her to go run with it or wait, if she has a question.
Well, I would think she could call the mayor.
No,
Yeah.
No. Hmm?
would you call you or Lenny, or, I mean, Lenny's up there a lot. You are, you're very involved.
Somebody on the council that she could call, say, is this worthy of continuing, or?
it's probably a Christian question, because, you know, there's some things that he told us one council person can't unilaterally do, like, we just had the workshop on the employees. You can't, one of you can't tell the boys what to do supposedly, it's gotta be a council decision. So I'm wondering, maybe Mark knows about that, or maybe that's a Christian question, but it almost seems like if you're gonna
No.
ask, it probably have to go before everybody.
Just a thought.
Mark?
Yeah, I mean, the language says the town council. Right.
So then do a preliminary investigation, then bring it to them on all cases.
member, don't name a member's name, but say a council member, so that you're not coming back and redoing this every time you have new council members or new people in the mix. Make it more general.
Yeah, but it says
to
the
the
council, so
position.
that's all of them.
All of them would be fine, yeah, and saying, instead of saying Yvonne's name in there, say town clerk, chief clerk. So that, like when you first started doing it, we had a different clerk. So every time you change a position, you have to change the name and go back through this whole process.
Well,
You'd still be doing it, but you just don't put the person's name.
Did Christian say that none of the council has the authority?
None of the council has authority to investigate complaints.
right.
Right.
You're not supposed to do that, you,
Delegate it.
right.
Okay, well then that's what it's,
Delegate.
okay, so we're
And that's
going
what
around
you
our
do.
elbow to get to our behind here, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then Yvonne, you investigate.
And then I
You
bring,
investigate it, then you bring it forward to council.
that's all I need.
Simple as that.
I mean, she's pretty good about it. If she has something that she has asked us questions, she will call us.
She,
Right.
correct. Okay, all right, Mark, keep going.
So, this next section just talks, that part B there just talks about who's liable, you know, owners, tenants, occupants, you know, whoever. So for example, a tenant, violates the code, you do send a notice to the owner as well.
Mhm.
Procedures. The development regulations administrator, if the DRA finds that any provision of these land development regulations is being violated, he or she shall send a written notice to the person responsible for such violation, indicating the nature of the violation and ordering the action necessary to correct it. Additional written notices may be sent by at the DRA's discretion. So you can give them a certain period of time, you can follow up in writing. In that initial, you give them some period of time to come to compliance. You know, if it seems like they're coming to compliance, you continue to work with them.
All right,
But the final written notice and the initial written notice, maybe the final notice, depending on the circumstances, shall state with the action the development regulation administrator intends to take if the violation is not corrected, and shall advise development regulation administrator's decision or order, and may be appealed to the board of adjustments. That's essentially what happened. You're thinking about, if you go back to, I don't remember what the name of the business was, but, you know, right there
Ace.
at Fountain and Second Avenue, the junkyard, right? So they were given they were sent a letter that showed them all these pictures, you know, the investigation indicated that it was in fact a junkyard, and that it, you know, these weren't just vehicles just waiting to be repaired, these weren't customer vehicles, they were, you know, they were bringing them in from accidents and things like that. And so it gave them a period of time to come to compliance. And what they did is they built the Board of Adjustment, and made the final decision. This was, that was with Clay, so I don't know if they even showed up.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And we gave them 30 days to vacate, and I tried to get 200 a day, but I couldn't get the board to go with me, so I think it was 100 a day.
I was gonna say, Mark, is there a certain, set time that if there is a violation or whatever, like 30 days, 45 days, 60 days is?
It's not, it needs to be reasonable. I mean,
Right.
if somebody has, you know, if you're saying that a building needs to be taken down or something like that.
Right.
It's not reasonable, you know, you got 3 days to
Right.
fix your building.
Yeah, I didn't say 3, I said 30.
No, but I'm just saying.
Right.
So if you decide that 30 days, you know,
I see, reasonable.
I mean,
It's reasonable.
you know, most code enforcement violations in other cities, you know, it's 2 weeks or 30, it's usually what it is. And, you know, if they're working on it, you know, if you go back and investigate, you know, and show back up, and it looks like, well, you know, they didn't take care of what you wanted them to take care of, but, you know, they cleared out, you know, half the vehicles that you asked them to have to clear out, or something, you can extend them some additional time. You know? So it just, you know, it just has to be reasonable. You know, when you're thinking of how comfortable am I, you know, ultimately this could end up in front of the judge, how comfortable are you with the amount of notice you need them?
Right.
If it's, you know, 2 weeks to remove one junk vehicle from the property, it's probably not, you know, that's not unreasonable. If you show up someplace and they have, you know, 30 junk vehicles, other items, you know, in disrepair, you might give them 30.
Okay, so we've got the DRA taking action with or without council's consent. We've got reasonable time set for violations to come within compliance. After that's done, then where are we going to?
Okay, so then you go to the Board of Adjustment, if they appeal it, right? Because obviously they can just come in compliance,
Or they can appeal.
or they don't come in compliance, they can just ignore you.
Mhm.
And then, you know, a fine can accumulate. And
Okay, then after that,
so a couple things,
So-
happen.
so-
They can appeal it to the Board of Adjustment, or, you know, or they do nothing, a fine accumulates, then we take them to court.
and the Board of Adjustment was
The planning and zoning.
the Planning and Zoning Commission, right?
Correct. Alright, so then there's this language in here about the penalties and violations. Violation provisions of landowner regulation or failure to comply with any requirement thereof, including violations of any condition of safeguards established in connection with grants of variance or special exception shall constitute a violation of the municipal ordinance. And can be it can be up to 500. And, you know, if there's something that's very serious, it can be, imprisonment. Obviously, we're not going to do that, the judge is going to do that.
Right.
Any act constituting a violation of provisions of landowner regulations or failure to comply with any of these requirements, including violation of any conditions or safeguards established in connection with the grants of any variance or special exception shall be subject to the offender's penalty of $200 per day. If the offender fails to pay this penalty within 10 days after being cited for a violation, the penalty may be recovered by the town in civil action. Right, so that's where I said we would sue. Addition of civil penalty and any and all costs, including legal costs incurred by the town, and the enforcement of the revisions to these landowner regulations may be recovered by the town in a civil action. And the civil action may not be appealed to a Board of Adjustment if the offender was sent a final notice of violation in accordance with paragraph 3.2.10C. It did not take an appeal to the Board of Adjustment within the prescribed period of time. And so then it talks about provisions when may be enforced by any appropriate capital action. So they're just giving you the ability to take other forms of lawsuit against them. And each day is considered a separate violation. So the fine can accumulate significantly if they don't do anything.
And was the fine a maximum up to $500? Is that what it was, or 200?
Well, then on
Or
this page, it,
Some of them in our regular code of ordinances have specific.
Have specific
depending
fines.
on what violations they're in.
okay.
Like for instance, there's a general one just in the regular code of ordinance that fee isn't specified, or if a fine isn't specified in the actual ordinance, the general one that we currently have on the books is $50 per violation per day, not to exceed $500. So within 10 days, you would max out your max $500 fee. But then some of them are like, I was reading to Yvonne earlier, some of them get kind of crazy, like, the one about the convenience stores, you know, if the convenience stores don't follow all the ordinances about their windows can't be tinted, they can't block the register with a sign in the window, et cetera, that's $2,500 for the first violation and $4,500 every subsequent day that they're not in compliance.
Oh my God.
That's a big one. Some of them are specific to the actual ordinance.
You see, something like that I think is excessive.
Yes.
That's why I have a hard time with all this. But I know there's places where it needs to be done.
Yes.
Looked at in town, I agree with that, there's no doubt about that,
I'm assuming that the town could revisit
But-
any of the old outdated stuff.
well, that's why I asked at our meeting if we
This
could.
basically talks about, there's up to 500, which is, in this order, we will need some clarification from, or some guidance from Christian, because there's two different sets of penalties. One of which seems to be criminal in nature, that's the one that's up to 500. And then there's one that's civil action, which is 200.
That's you're right, yeah, 200 civil.
So I think he needs to give us some guidance as to, you know, when and what applies. I know just because something's up to the maximum, you don't have to apply it.
What would keep somebody from, if it was financially more advisable for them to pay the $500 fine and keep doing what they're doing? If they're gonna make
I don't think that-
$1,500 off of a junk car or whatever they're doing out there at this gas station that they have, what would be the difference of them just paying that $500?
Well,
It's per day.
No,
there's
that,
two.
well, that part
That
was,
500 is more, that also, that 500 also, you can take somebody, that has a prison essentially, a judge would take somebody to court and impose that. The $200 civil violations, yes, they can accumulate for sometimes for years. Yes, that is a possibility, but if it's homestead property, if it's commercial property, you can take them to court at some period of time. But if the violation's at somebody's house and it's homesteaded, you're not gonna be able to foreclose on that. They just can accumulate that fine to the point to, you know, when they sell that property, if they do sell that property, you might make more money on it than they do. So, but a commercial instance, you can take it to court and collect, essentially force the sale of the property. So they will, you know, in commercial instances, they'll pay. It's only with homesteaded properties that people are protected and where they can accumulate for years. And that happens in a bunch of cities. At some point, what you do is after a period of time, you put a lien on the property.
So homestead property is protected
From foreclosure.
From
not
foreclosure.
liens, Not from liens.
Not for liens.
Homestead property is protected from foreclosure. Right, so you put a lien on the property, and there'd be a notice to any buyers out there that there's
Right.
been a running file on this property for, 3 years.
shows up in the title search.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it sounds like Ryan has done some legwork on some of these fees that we have currently. Maybe that's kind of our next role we need to play, is go back and look at what we have some of these fees set at. I mean, because like you said, $2,500 for the signs in the windows.
Most of the
Stores.
ones, I just went through our regular ordinances, I didn't go through, I know there's a couple in the land development. I just keyword searched fines earlier in the ordinances, and I went through every ordinance and wrote down if they had a specific fine. Most of them are just not exceeding $500 or imprisonment up to 60 days for both. That was kind of our general that we use for a lot of them, but there are the occasional fines that are different, like one about backflow devices. If they don't install a backflow device or they tamper with one, that's $1,000 fine. You know, but a lot of them it's the same, not to exceed $500 or imprisonment not to exceed 60 days. Now, if you mess with fair housing, if you're found in violation or committing discriminatory housing practice, it's a $500 fine or jail time not exceeding 6 months, which is a little bit longer than 60 days.
Now, where would we ever fall into something like that with fair housing practice?
Yeah,
Well, that'd be like if somebody in
That's-
town were accused of that, rentals or.
but why would that be the town's?
You probably have that fair housing that you're required to do it.
We're required to do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, cause that's just
Probably
like
so.
the fair housing
Yeah.
papers, you have to
Yeah,
hand out or
Okay.
take
there's
a
a
picture.
flyer in town hall we have to have there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Mark, anything else you want to tell us? I just think,
So this is what's in your landlord code. Obviously, you can provide, policy guidance and procedures.
the council can
Yes. On how you.
suggest policy, procedures, guidance.
Now, I don't know if this question's for Mark, or if maybe this question's for Christian, but we discussed this earlier. Let's say somebody files a complaint against their neighbor. Cause their neighbor, we had a call today. Their neighbor put a roof on their house, the water from this little roof over their front porch goes into her yard and makes a big hole in her yard. Now, if they filed a complaint, if the person that the complaint's against asked to know who did this, are we allowed to tell them who filed the complaint against us?
You
Have to,
They
correct?
have to give you your name, and that is.
Well, that was our clarification, because they have to give us the name, but then
Because
we have
this
to
one
turn around
had to
and
be
broadcast
anonymous,
that.
again.
They have to give you your name, their name is a public record. I'll tell you what most people do, most jurisdictions do, they will make you, if you wanna know a person's name is, well, you're gonna have to get your car, you're gonna have to drive down here, and we will show you the paperwork. They don't just give it out over the phone, because,
Well, most of the people live through town, so they have no problem driving.
I know,
Right.
it's just, and
Well, like.
there's nothing in law that says to do that. The theory, I know what it is, they just would like people to cool down for a few minutes before they.
Well, I'm just asking, cause I had a situation last week, someone heard at the meeting that we had passed the DRA, and that they were personally gonna drive around all through Pierson and bring me a list, and I said, well, you have to put your name on this list, and if the person asks me who filed the complaint, I can show them the complaint, and your name's gonna be, oh, well, I'm not gonna do that. Kinda stuck with that one, because that was kinda scary, cause you're just gonna drive around everybody's house and.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of this right here.
Oh, but that's, if you don't
Believe
put
me.
your name on it and fess up to it, it's
I don't
gonna
care.
stop a lot of
There's
that.
still some people I feel that are gonna,
There are some people who will do it.
yeah.
Well, this person wasn't willing to. Changed her story completely when she found out that her name was gonna go on the paperwork.
Mm.
Which is good, because she probably would've brought me a lot of stuff.
Well, that's why I asked a question at our meeting, if this can be repealed, and I believe Christian said it can be repealed.
It definitely can be revealed.
And ordinances can, I'm assuming, be revisited, it's a lengthy process.
So you guys can, what you probably should do at some future meeting is, here's everything that's a violation.
Mhm. This is what we've got in the,
Do you want it to continue to be?
this is what we've got in the last 3 months. And let's,
Well, I'm just saying, you can go
So-
through the list that has penalties and decide whether those are things that should be penalties. You can't.
right, yeah,
It's
that's it.
a fair housing thing, but,
Right.
But like we found two, Kirsten is rural, right? So we found two today that right off the bat dogs or cats in your house. So Brandy's gonna have to move out first.
100%.
Dogs are out of
If
here.
she's found in violation of that, then we're allowed to fine her until she gets rid of the dog or whatever. And then the other one was, if you have free-range chickens in your yard and someone complains and you don't put your chickens up, we as a town are allowed to gather them and dispose of them.
It's an ordinance.
It's an
Give
ordinance.
them to other people?
We're supposed to get rid of them.
Get rid of them.
But I mean, we have calls all day long, there's chickens in there. How many people, what percentage of
Chickens might
people
not
are
have
in
to
here
have
have
ducks
chickens?
now.
I know where there's plenty of damn chickens,
So that's what I think you should.
right next door to Mom and Dad's house.
Go through,
Uh,
we're gonna.
Uncle Jimmy and Aunt Lois's old house. Yeah, between Mom and Dad's house
Yeah.
and where Lisa lives,
Yeah,
Papa and
Lisa's,
Granny's
yeah,
house.
that's what it's kind of.
But anyway,
But how old are those ordinances, and there's something you can repeal if you want to, as council?
Cause I'm not chasing or killing the chickens, just letting y'all know.
I know.
We started going through that, we even found gray horses and things like that. We weeded out a whole lot of
There's
it.
stuff in there about like if your livestock animals get out, it's $100 a day, if you don't get your livestock back in the fence, I mean,
But that's not when somebody complains about it.
well, yeah. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff in there, we don't know how old that ordinance is, or if it even is applicable anymore, but the council would have to revisit that, I'm assuming through a workshop process, and then it would be discussed at a meeting.
Bring back the ordinance. Appealing.
On the slaughter and the chickens.
Because what's gonna happen is we're not real familiar with all of our ordinances, but the second they go online, and this DRA thing comes out, people are gonna call, and we're gonna have to familiarize ourselves real quick with stuff, because they'll find it.
Well, here's the thing, you know, which we, I don't know if you have to talk to, Christian about this, but, you know, what I've always been told is that you do not actually have an obligation to enforce, you know, your regulations. You can decide as a city council which ones you will enforce or won't enforce. Obviously, if you repeal something, that means some future council would have to adopt something in order to enforce it. So you guys decide what you wanna do. You could definitely tell them, you know, we're not gonna enforce chickens or, you know, count people's, you know, pets. You're not required to enforce, you know, each and every one of your regulations. You know,
So that may be a situation then where Yvonne does a preliminary and that gets brought to council, if we think it's something that, you know, we're not really following that anymore, or.
If somebody has
But-
30 dogs and 30 cats in their house, okay, that might be a problem, but 6 or 7 dogs is not an issue, because a lot of people have multiple dogs.
Yes.
Now, if you have 30 of them, I can understand, that's a hoarding situation. But
Also,
otherwise,
the really funny part about that ordinance is it was, hunting dogs were exempted from that.
Yeah.
yes, I remember when that came
Yeah, I
on.
remember
Yeah,
you
I
going over
remember.
that and cleaning and
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
I remember going hunting dogs and working dogs for
Yeah.
cattle.
But I mean, I could see where chickens could be a problem. You know, somebody up the street's got 100 chickens and, they're roosting on my new Lexus at night. You know what I'm saying?
You got any Lexus?
Yeah.
that's an
Mhm.
extreme
Yeah,
thing, 'cause I just
but
hear my yard
our
every day, and it's just so
solution wouldn't be that we're gonna go round them up and exterminate.
No, that's what we contracted with animal control for.
Right, you call animal control if it
Mhm.
was really a nuisance.
Yeah, but animal control doesn't do a plan.
They don't.
I kind of think how it's all laid out, and it's kind of Ryan and Lon, you can tell me. Some stuff they're gonna bring to us because they don't want to anyway, because they want to anyway.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
I mean, in like probably every meeting, you're gonna have a little rundown of, hey, there's these 3 complaints this week, or the past 2 weeks,
Because
or.
there's a couple of them in town that I know people are gonna turn in, and a couple of them are difficult people to begin with. And you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not going out there, I'm not sending my employees out there, other than sending a Volusia County sheriffs out there, and they told me they don't wanna go out there, so.
That'd be Hagstrom Road tore apart, so
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
well, and you have that problem in every city, just because you have, you know, doing code enforcement doesn't mean
Right.
it's not people who are difficult and, you know.
Yeah.
I'll stick with.
Well, I'm not for a whole going all aboard,
Oh,
like,
no.
like us
Well,
go
that's
find
why I
everybody
wanted
that
to
might be
clarify
out of
the
their
thing so that I
scope.
can show
Mhm.
them who filed the complaint against them, because that might kibosh it right there.
Yeah, a lot of
Because it might
it.
be this neighbor hates that neighbor, and they're just gonna start nitpicking on each other, and
And that
It happens.
You
I know it happens. And
Mhm.
with that, it will kibosh a lot of it, because they'll be like, oh, if I have to put my name down, they have to know it's me, never mind, I don't wanna do it. Great.
They're pretty-
Well, I had to give my name the other day when I turned in that complaint.
I haven't been by there. I'm going by there when we
Yeah,
leave here.
There's, I
Yeah.
don't even know what's going on there. You see.
Lars
you can
Lars
figure it out.
owned that. Did he sell it?
Question that I received.
Well, he sold it to the teacher
Okay.
that just got in trouble up here. He bought, somebody told me, Old Bubbly, some property out there, and then sold this to Albert Bennett Jr.
So the first question.
Oh, Lord, have mercy sakes.
Yeah.
None of these were asked directly to me, these all came through, well, the first question I was asked, can I dig an irrigation pond? And so my answer was, if you have active agriculture, you can dig an irrigation pond.
What if I don't have active
Well,
agriculture? That was the second.
Right, that's the second question.
No.
The question was, well, no, you can't have an irrigation pond for no, you can't dig in that, it's an accessory to part and parcel of agriculture. If there's no agricultural activity, there's not an exempt, you're not digging irrigation.
But since it's so close to Lake Pierson, and that's
Yeah,
conservation,
isn't
isn't there
that
something else?
conservation around Lake Pierson?
Well, there are,
Yes.
so yes, there's
Yes.
some area that's
Okay.
conservation, in addition,
It is.
where DEP or St. John's will get concerned about is that you establish connection between whatever pond you're digging and, an existing surface water. Essentially, the other question that I was asked, I guess I explained, well, no, borrow pits are not permitted. I know there are borrow pits in Pierson, but borrow pits aren't an agricultural activity,
Mhm.
right? They're not listed as a permitted use in your zoning category. They're not a special exception. Like, the county has a specific special exception with, 8 pages of requirements. You can apply for and go through and establish a borrow pit, right? To sell dirt to
Mhm.
PNS paving or whoever. And they have a whole bunch of regulations. Pierson doesn't have that, so there's a language in your land use code that says if it's not listed as permitted use, it's prohibited. So you can't just go create a borrow pit.
And I have all the emails from correspondence with him and with the party, where I told the party couldn't do it, and then I find out the party's doing it.
Right. And so obviously they'll have some story as to what that actually is. Assuming they're not gonna say, yeah, we're just selling this dirt to pavers.
Okay, let's move along. We've got 2 other items to go through, today. So, does any of the council have anything else for Mark? Anybody in the audience have anything regarding this matter?
I just think it's gonna be a learning curve for
I
all of
think
us.
so,
I
too.
think we're
That's-
just gonna have to battle
Well,
it as
this-
they come. I
It's
mean,
gonna be a
and
learning
go through
curve,
it. Yeah.
that's for sure.
This might be a Christian question too, but can we create our own reporting form for that, just base it off of maybe some other municipalities in terms of?
Yeah, you should get a standard, letter, usually what is sent out is, usually the first letter is usually pretty nice. And we've received complaint that, you're doing X, Y, and Z. This is what it violates in the code. We, like you to come in compliance, and you should give them some time frame.
Okay, so moving on then we have decided then amongst us council persons here today that at our next regular meeting that, Yvonne has been named the DRA. She can or she can report to us or not report to us to get the procedure going. And, see, what else was there?
lets you guys know as well, right? So it's not just between her and the violator, she sends a note, you know.
A notice to the council.
Communication to you guys.
Right, right. And a reasonable time's been set for violation to come within compliance. And Board of Adjustment is Zoning and Planning Commission. And anything else regarding that, the DRA?
Mm-mm.
Okay, with that, let's move to item 4B, Muni Code. Ryan, I know this came up at our previous meeting. There was some questions regarding the billing.
Yep, they gave us a package price, so her problem was her math for the total was the 2 packages without the package discount. So in other words, it came to 6,500, but when you guys added it up, it was 4,890. So I asked her about that, and she said, "Oh no, 4,890 is correct. That's the package deal with both of those things together, the LDR and the code."
So it's 4,890?
It's 4,890
And not 65?
Right,
Yeah.
and they're gonna give us a discount first year, which I don't think I've printed it on it. No, I didn't print it on. They're giving us a discount like 25% on the first year, so really it's like 37 or
Oh.
38 something. But we can't vote on it today, it has to be voted on during the regular
Right,
meeting, so
right.
I'll have all that on the next agenda for next meeting. But, so yeah, it was 4,890 annually. I mean, it goes up.
Oh, I know, we just.
Yeah, something like 5% a year, but it's not a ton of money.
So that was just informational, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, that was just
informational.
informational then.
We're not having a discussion on it.
Well, that's good. Okay, well, let's move to item C then, 4C, Community Center ADA compliance. And I'm gonna let Yvonne or Ryan start off with that, because I think they were over there today.
We went over there today, we did measurements, we realized that the female bathroom, there was no way that we can make female bathroom ADA compliant because it has the air handler going up the one wall. So the only plausible solution is to make the men's bathroom the ADA compliant, but we basically have to move the wall out 2 feet in towards the kitchen. Because there has to be a 60-inch radius, which is this giant circle, which is 5 foot.
5 by 5.
5 by 5. With the urinal there, you can't do it. So the urinal has to go out, the toilet, and with the sink there, you can't do it. And then, of course, the toilet has to be 18 inches away from the wall, and it's not. And the bars that go on the walls are not ADA compliant. So if we took 2 feet off of the kitchen and closed both of the side doors, and then opened up the center's already open, but we took that
Wall
Piece
out.
out.
piece
Yeah.
out that's like the little bar piece out and made that a big opening that you could get in the kitchen. The kitchen is, other than the sink, is ADA compliant, because you could do a 60-inch circle in all directions in there. And then make both of the bathrooms like unisex, like, this one, and then this was ADA compliant. But it's gonna cost money.
You're gonna have to renovate the kitchen and the bathroom.
It's gonna be electrical, it's gonna be plumbing, it's going to be. So, go ahead.
With that, I think it would be wise for us, instead of jumping on that right now, when it comes election time, to rent.
An ADA compliant portable.
Bathroom, yeah, you said that.
Yeah,
And
rent,
Marley called and it would be $250.
yeah, for $250 a day.
Until we can get a grant and move on with
What-
renovating that building.
Which grant?
I'm thinking maybe use Echo Grant.
Echo Grant.
Yeah, 'cause they match.
Because it's a matching grant.
Yeah, yeah,
So if we're gonna invest
We're
the money, we're doubling the money.
yeah,
But for that, we have to put a whole
packet.
plan together, we probably have to hire a GC, a general contractor, and, I mean, we could try to piecemeal it, but it seems like you want someone to just come in and just drop the whole thing for you. and do it
Don't they
correctly.
want to see the plans and?
Yeah, yeah.
They're gonna want a whole,
Because you're not gonna want somebody to come in here and see it.
right,
There are people in this state
right.
that's all they do. They go around and they sue people who are not ADA compliant,
yeah.
so they make a living.
So the good
And they're
news-
not
paved parking area that's there is wide enough to be ADA compliant, the lines just have to be
Just
repainted.
needs to,
So that there's a space for van accessibility and there's a space for just a regular vehicle accessibility. They have to have the little access aisles on either side where there's no parking. We measured it out Friday, it's wide enough, you're just gonna have to repaint the lines, move the signs, move the little parking stop, and you'll be good on the parking.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest.
that's an easy fix.
That's
That
the
we
easiest
can-
thing. And we probably
Yeah.
can go ahead and do
Go
that now
forward.
regardless of
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
waiting on any other thing, cause that can be done too.
yeah, that's something we can do.
The handicap,
Pretty
I mean,
easy.
that's just basically repainting.
That's it, that's all, yeah.
And like some of the stuff in the community center came close, but not quite, like for instance, the bathroom doors are wide enough. But then once you go in there, there's like a little dividing wall and the sink juts out, it's just not enough room.
Is there another place that you guys could offer up as a precinct? I know for some reason, where I go vote is in a church.
Right, and I was thinking that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, why can't we do it here?
Right,
You got the space.
We got the bathrooms,
Is there
we got the bathroom, we got the parking.
That a government building?
People in to see what you
I think you can, you know, I've seen it, like at public libraries, you know.
I'd have to call Lisa Lewis.
But
Lewis, that's
but
what I
there's
was
a certain
gonna
period
say.
of time where they won't let you change the precinct.
Right.
right.
Not only that, everybody's car has to be changed, it still has to be ADA compliant, so it would
We
have
are,
to
yeah.
be. Right. Right. But I mean, either way, this main building is the one that is ADA compliant with the bathroom and the ramp and the automatic door.
Mhm.
But then the issue there is, can you go vote in an election and this also is a municipal office? It seems like that's kind of a conflict.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
That's,
if it is,
that
but
needs to be,
That's a Lisa Lewis.
that's a Lisa Lewis,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
I'd
call
find
Lisa
out.
and find out.
People vote at city halls all the time.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I thought too,
They did it at Warren, my son goes to Warren, each city hall
to vote.
Yeah.
well, another
Actually, the
idea
library
is,
attached to city.
we have a cafeteria that's
Oh, I know it.
wide open.
I know it.
There's no bathrooms in there.
Oh, and
And the
these
ones in the
aren't
hallway aren't
compliant
ADA
out here,
compliant.
yeah.
And that would be more work.
Oh, yeah,
It's either we use that building over there or put a portable ADA compliant
yeah.
thing outside, or we
And that
see
would,
about
I
using
mean,
here.
that's a fix we came up with, but that's also a question if that would work.
Yeah, that would, yeah.
We
that would-
gotta make sure.
No, the two offices across from the main office, you could use those, couldn't you? Some officers right over here. Oh,
Half room.
There's a big room.
It's a big room and there's like a little waiting area.
I just thought that might be a quick fix.
Yeah,
Mhm.
oh, yeah.
You know, we could,
Yeah, because we're
Yvonne, please check on it, you know, cause it can always be a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
We can, I know it's the mayor's office, but we can always move
Figure
his
it
desk
out.
over and put some voting machines in there.
there you go.
And then
Absolutely.
we'd be ADA compliant,
Right,
Yeah, 'cause
all the way around.
you've got the interior for all the helpers and handers and all that, and then you could put the voting machines.
It's just something to consider.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cause, I mean, we've done it at the high school.
Oh, I
one
know,
year, so I
yeah,
don't know,
Yeah, in the gym.
right,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So,
So,
we just
I'll
need
call
to.
Lisa.
Yvonne, if you would,
If I
call
can,
Lisa.
they'll have an answer for you.
and, be sure and ask her if there's a time period. And, you know, before the election, it's got to
Well,
be
I noticed
set.
the bill just announced theirs last week.
Yeah, they-
Supervisor of Elections announced that theirs had moved to the old
Better.
elementary school.
Yeah.
And then I have to find out because the, elections office called and spoke, was it to you last week?
Oh, yeah, they called and asked me about what day to drop off the equipment and stuff. They wanted to know if we had time to stop by and get the keys for the community center.
Oh, yeah.
So it might be too late, they might.
Because, do we have August election?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yes, we have all of those.
a primary.
Yeah, primary.
Yeah,
The thing is, it's like you said on Tuesday, it hasn't been a problem yet. I mean, they voted there for years.
right,
Yeah.
But it just takes the one time
Oh,
for
yeah.
someone to show up and not be able to get in the bathroom.
yeah.
Mhm.
And the interesting thing is I looked at, this is the list that Fred Fox Enterprises provided to us. It shows all the deficiencies. and they list a few things for the community center, they don't list all of them.
Oh.
I don't think it was a real comprehensive, detailed list, I think it was just sort of bullet points, because there's a lot of stuff, like, all she questioned was that half wall in the bathroom and ADA compliant doorknob, there's a lot of stuff in there, that if you could actually go measure, it's
She
not
did
hard.
this whole thing in one day.
Right.
Yeah, like the mirrors
It's
not in the right
just
spot,
for-
the sinks aren't high
Just for a
enough.
grant requirement, right,
Right.
there's rows and stuff on there, you know, but it's
So,
not, it's
right.
definitely not a complete.
Right.
list. So once you actually start drilling down into it, there'll be a lot. But that's why I think you're gonna have to probably get a general contractor, because they seem like little things, but there's probably 50 little things.
And you want all those
And
little
it all
things
needs to be
lined
done
up.
right the first time.
Is Randy Hutchinson a G?
I don't know if he is or
I don't know,
not.
I just wondered if, I know he just does a lot
Yeah, I
around
know.
here, so I
I
don't know
think
if
he
would-
is.
If he has.
Randy Hutcherson?
I think he
If
is
he's a
too.
general contractor.
We can find out.
License code, because I think we tried using it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, I was just
Who's that,
asking.
Sue?
I thought he let his license go when he was billed.
Oh,
May have. So we're on a grants to repaint the
Get the
handicap
parking lot.
parking.
yeah.
And then
get-
we're gonna
Yeah.
have Avon call the supervisor
Call the
election
supervisor
about the
elections.
elections.
Right,
If we
If
can't
we
get
can
that
have it-
fixed, we'll just rent that bathroom for August
right.
for a
Mark,
month.
do you have any ideas who I talk to find out if that's adequate, legal for rent, just like before the life, like who would you ask, like, compliance questions to? The fire marshal?
The ADA board.
The fire marshal, the building official may know as well.
Yeah, I don't know, the fire marshal.
We don't wanna have-
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I wouldn't ask him for
We've already got
anything.
stuff to do here for him. He's
Yeah.
on there.
We don't wanna give them another building
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, there's an ADA board, you could probably call and ask that question.
And I would.
Because I guess my
probably
question is with renting a portable potty, does it have a ramp for ADA? I
It
mean,
does.
it does.
It's got to
Oh,
be,
good.
yeah, it's got,
wide and
Oh, yeah.
Even got a little sink in it
It
and
has
everything.
little.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen a portable one, but I haven't looked for one either.
But a lot of the times now, if you go to like a festival or an outdoor event, they have the ADA ones there for that.
Oh,
reason,
yeah.
Because it has to be compliant. The only thing is you probably have to have something paved up to it, so you probably have to put it like at the end of
A
the
piece of
walkway or
concrete.
something there, so that it's, you know, on solid ground.
mm-hmm.
But I mean, if that could get us by and we can't change the venue at this late of a time, that might be the fix, and just say, hey, we're in the process of looking into renovating.
We're in the process of renovating.
Yeah, we're in the process of renovating. Well, by that time, by election time, I mean, the Echo Grant thing opens in October, so we would have already had to have substantial work done on that to be able to present it. So that's something we're gonna have to discuss at maybe the next meeting, because we'd have to start working on that. Getting pricing and,
Ryan, are you going to the course?
I did it online for the one in June, but that was for, or in, I think in April or May. But that was like they did it like halfway through the year, they did the second one this year, a mid-cycle. And then we did the Echo, I did the course online, and I said, okay, great, well, in a month you have to have all your applications done. Well, we didn't have time to put together a 200-page, you know, comprehensive application.
You talking about the Echo Grant? Right, yeah, we've got to get in on that next
Yeah.
round of that.
You just need to go through the process and learn it. There's some cities like, they get a bunch of money every single year.
That's,
Well,
Yeah.
Con spoke to us about that, because Con has done this before for Oak Hill.
Right.
So she will probably.
Seville's Community Association?
But it's not,
Jana?
but it's not easy to do.
Just that one.
That's the thing, it's not easy, because when you're.
But once you learn it,
Mhm.
yeah.
No, but you've got contacts or what?
Right, we know people that have done it.
Yeah.
Deanne.
I was gonna say, who was that?
That's Deanne.
It's Deanne feeding him back.
No, it's just.
Okay, Ryan, Vaughn, anything else? Mark,
Yeah.
anybody else in the audience? With no further business then, this workshop is adjourned.
Drive North Road, buddy.
How you turn this thing off?
I'm coming.
Oh, what'd you say, Brandy? Oh, yes, I'm going to.